Honorable Minister for Information Technology, Urban Development, Municipality, Shri K. Rama Rao Garu, Minister for R&B, Prashant Reddy Garu, our JNTU Vice Chancellor, Professor Narasimha Reddy Garu, our Higher Education Commission Chairman, Professor Limbadri Garu, other dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, let me congratulate you one more time on the occasion of today being the Engineers' Day. I'm assuming at least 90%, if not more than 90% of you are engineers. And it's a day for all of us to feel proud about and celebrate. I have an 86-year-old mother, an octogenarian, and she tells me all about what she went through in life. She came from a home where they didn't have electricity. She went through watching silent movies. The sound movies came by. It was all black and white. Then it became color. Black and white television, the color television, a landline which had cordless phone, the mobile phone. She moved on with her life and tells me now she understands a little bit about our social media, whether it's a YouTube channel she watches. She doesn't have a handle on the Twitter, but she knows what Twitter is all about. But unfortunately, she was born at a time when she did not have the right education, nor the capability. So she somehow tells me all the time how unfortunate she was not to have participated in what she saw as an accelerated change in the last 20 years. All of you are born at a different point of time. We've seen independence of 75 years, post-independent India, tremendous amount of progress being made. But what is in front of my young friends at the back right now is the next 25 years. A 25 years which is golden path ahead of you. I'll call out 3 reasons why I believe it's golden path for you. One is the way in which the business is being done is far different from what it was in the past. I became an entrepreneur 30 years back. It was license Raj. We used to run around New Delhi for getting a number of paperwork being done. It's not true any longer. I haven't been to an income tax office at least for the last 12 years now. So the ease of doing business has changed dramatically. And certainly I think we should give a round of applause to the politicians, for people who provide leadership, KTR Garu, Prashant Reddy Garu, and KCR Garu, all of them who are continuously working on this path in making sure that the ease of business becomes much better. The second one is the type of infrastructure that's available to all of you at this point of time. What we saw in our good old days was a petrol engine. I graduated in mechanical engineering. I still recall what we had as lab equipment. 1 petrol engine, 1 diesel engine for a class of 60 students. Comparatively, what are you seeing at this point of time? And what are you looking at the infrastructure that's available to you thereafter? I'd like to definitely call out 2 things, or many more things thereafter, all right, is specifically T-Hub, which is the largest incubation center which got created by KT Rama Rao Garu, his vision. And it is churning out a number of startups, many of people like you. So I want to take this occasion to tell you that think about becoming an entrepreneur. Today, we're celebrating innovation. Innovation should lead into incubation, incubation thereafter into entrepreneurship. And you have that facility to make it happen. And the second one I like to also call out, and Sri KT Rama Rao Garu was also talking about it, is the T-Works that he created. I happened to visit them on Tuesday afternoon and spent 2 hours in T-Hub. Amazing ways in which you can take your idea and convert it into a product. You can do 10 prototypes. I'm sure Professor Narasimha Reddy Garu today got our incubation center inaugurated by Honorable Minister. But there's no harm in learning from others. I think they've done an extraordinary work at T-Hub, T-Works, V-Hub, and so many more of them. So you're fortunate on the second count that you don't, not in addition to ease of doing business, you also have terrific infrastructure. But the third one, which is equally important, is that you're born at a time that the technology is at its best. We haven't seen the technology accelerating at pace with which it is accelerating today. It's just not accelerating, it's amplifying. So I spoke to the audience earlier this morning about the 5 mega trends that we called out. The 5 mega trends, we believe that it will be more in terms of automation, which is Industry 4.0, the smart mobility that will go by, or the healthcare, sustainability, and finally space. So the opportunities are plenty, opportunities which did not exist for people like my mother, or for that matter even for me. So you have a golden path ahead of you. I'll wish you all the very best in making sure you use that path ahead of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May I now request our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Katta Narasimha Reddy Garu, to address the gathering.
Chief guests of today's International Conference on Innovation and Technology, Sri K.T. Ramarao Garu, the Honorable Minister of Municipal Administration and Urban Development, IT, Industries and Commerce, Government of Telangana. We are very happy to have a dynamic leader and a great visionary like K.T. Ramarao Garu, more appropriately inaugurating this International Conference in Innovation in Engineering and Technology. Under his dynamic leadership, the state of Telangana has passed several milestones in the IT and electronics, industry and commerce sectors. He is instrumental in getting many industries to the Telangana, making Telangana as an environmentally safe industrial hub. The new IT policy of Telangana, developed under his leadership, focused on digital empowerment of citizens, innovation and entrepreneurship, and taken the innovation ecosystem of Telangana to the global levels. His initiatives culminated into building very meaningful partnership with leading global organizations like WEF, UNDF, World Bank, which have been leveraged to make Telangana the leader in the emerging technology space. Sri Vemula Prashant Reddy Garu, himself an engineer and who has been working with the government as a Minister of R&B and Legislative Affairs. And Sri Prashant Reddy Garu was the first Vice Chairman of the dream project of our Chief Minister, Sri Chandrasekhar Rao Garu. The dream project is Bhagiratha, the Mission Bhagiratha. You know how the number of towns and villages all over Telangana has been benefited by this Mission Bhagiratha. I welcome both of you, sir. And distinguished guests, Dr. B.V.R. Mohan Reddy Garu, a Padma Shri awardee and founder and executive chairman of CENT, chairman of BOG of IIT Hyderabad. He is the man who placed India on the global map of leading edge engineering and research and development services. He was the chairperson of the committee set up by All India Council for Technical Education to provide short and medium range perspectives of engineering education. And under his vision and the report which he has submitted to the AICT has been very useful for our when it is implemented, so that our faculty and student will be get benefited, and hands-on training and skill development, etc. I am very thankful to Mohan Reddy Garu for constantly encouraging us in developing this particular institution as per his vision. Professor Limbadri, the chairman of Telangana State Council for Higher Education, an eminent scholar and academic administrator. Professor L.S. Ganesh, the Vice Chancellor of QCFI Foundation for Higher Education, Hyderabad, is a senior academician and researcher who has worked for the several institutions in India and abroad on the various positions, and expert academician in the management studies. And Professor Ganesh was here this morning and delivered a lecture, and all of you must have heard him. He is a very eminent management professional in this country, and because of his preoccupation, he had to leave the auditorium a little early. And Professor Govardhan, Rector of the University, Professor Manzoor Hussain, the Registrar of the University, faculty, students, all the participants of this conference, both from India and abroad. And you must have already heard about Mohan Reddy's lecture. Dr. Mohan Reddy spoke at length about the innovations in engineering and technology, how the innovations and emerging technologies should be, dealt with in India in order to develop the country, develop the region, etc. And if you retrospect how the life of humans, starting from the Stone Age to the 21st century, you will realize how has the life has changed immensely. Even in our own lifetime, we have seen the transformation that are outstanding. All this has happened just because of the continuous progress in science and engineering and technology, from medicine to commerce, household to travel, business to pleasure. There are various engineering and technological inventions that have truly revolutionized the life and paved the way for the more to come. These innovations of all time that literally lay the foundations of the modern world that where we live in today. I just named few of the innovations which has taken place in recent years. In civil engineering, 3D printing technology, remote sharing of the data, kinetic roads, asset mapping, 3D city modeling, solar roadways, concept, green roof systems, waste plastic roads, modular construction, and self-healing concrete are the latest innovations in civil engineering. Coming back to the mechanical engineering, IoT is the backbone of the industrial revolution. With the IoT, advancement starts in the industry. It helps to become most of the process in the industry more automatic, and IoT helps to achieve the accuracy to reduce the unnecessary time. And printing industry changed the way of making parts, objectives, or more. From the invention of 3D printing, it was nice journey, all the start of 6D printing. Today, 4D printing and 5D printing are the new milestones that today industries have. The solar system changed the ways of generating energy. It is the best source of renewable energy technologies. Solar windows are the new grooming technology. With this, it is possible to generate electricity by getting the sun rays transferred into energy. If you come to the electrical engineering, notable recent innovations in electrical engineering are specifically medical engineering, where the robotics and augmented and virtual reality are extensively used today. Smart grids, electrical vehicles, wireless power transfer, wireless wearable technologies, artificial intelligence, the energy saving lighting technologies, etc. comes under the electrical engineering. And the innovations in electronic and communications is AI-enabled sensors, merging hardware and software to collect and validate critical data will be the major part of the use of the cases of the consumer wearables, the medical devices, industries, etc. Similarly, digital biomarkers, natural language processing, edge computing, synthetic data, etc. comes under that category. Similarly, in the computer science, a large number of innovations are taking place in computer science, like artificial intelligence, edge computing, quantum computing, robotics, cybersecurity, bioinformatics, data science, and full stack development, virtual reality, and augmented reality, and many more. Similarly, if you look at the transport engineering, self-driving cars, smart bicycles, multi-directional elevators, next generation lithium-ion batteries, hypersonics, air travel, etc. The innovations in healthcare are innumerable, and many new innovations are coming up in healthcare. And this in particular international conference is being organized by JNTU as a part of the Golden Jubilee celebrations. Coming back to this international conference, I would like to, tell you two things. Normally, the international conferences will be conducted at the departments level. But this time, we have decided that because of the Golden Jubilee year of JNTU, we have decided that entire university, all the entire engineering courses, subjects will come together and conduct an international conference in almost all existing subjects of the JNTU. This is what is happening for the first time in the, not only in JNTU history, but is happening in any university history. And today, there are a large number of delegates from different countries, and many have come from almost all the universities throughout this country. And I welcome all the guests here, and to have a better interaction with all the presenters who are presenting their papers, and have an interaction. And I'm very sure that this kind of interaction will help all our students, faculty, and all the participants to exchange the ideas on innovation and development of the subjects. Thank you very much.
Sir, thank you very much for taking us through a journey of applications of transdisciplinary and also interdisciplinary nature of latest developments in engineering and technology. May I now invite Dr. R. Sridevi, Professor of Computer Science and Coordinator of Center for Excellence in Cybersecurity, to read the brief note of profile of Honorable Minister Sri Vemula Prashant Reddy Garu.
Very short. A very good afternoon to all the dignitaries and guests.
నేనే పరిచయం చేసుకుంటా. I introduce myself. So I am a civil engineer too. And happy Engineers Day, all of you. Engineers Day శుభాకాంక్షలు మీ అందరికీ. సభాధ్యక్షులు గౌరవనీయులు JNTU వైస్ ఛాన్సలర్ కట్టా నరసింహారెడ్డి గారికి, అట్లాగే ఈరోజు ఇంజనీరింగ్ అండ్ టెక్నాలజీలో కొత్త ఇన్నోవేషన్స్, కొత్త ఆవిష్కరణల మీద ఇంటర్నేషనల్ సెమినార్ ప్రారంభోత్సవానికి వచ్చేసినటువంటి ఈ ప్రపంచంలోనే ద మోస్ట్ ఎఫిషియెంట్ మినిస్టర్ ఇన్ ద వరల్డ్, మన తెలంగాణ స్టేట్కు ఐటీ, ఇండస్ట్రీస్, మున్సిపల్, అర్బన్ డెవలప్మెంట్ మినిస్టర్గా ఉన్నటువంటి గౌరవనీయులు KTR గారికి, అంతేనా, వేదిక మీద ఉన్నటువంటి పద్మశ్రీ మోహన్ రెడ్డి గారికి, ఉన్నత విద్యామండలి చైర్మన్ ప్రొఫెసర్ లింబాద్రి గారికి, ప్రొఫెసర్ గోవర్ధన్ గారికి, రిజిస్ట్రార్ గారికి, అట్లాగే జేఎన్టీయూకు సంబంధించినటువంటి ఫ్యాకల్టీ మెంబర్స్ అందరికీ, ముఖ్యంగా స్టూడెంట్స్ అందరికి కూడా పెద్దలకు నా హృదయపూర్వక నమస్కారాలు, స్టూడెంట్స్కు నా బెస్ట్ విషెస్. అయితే యాక్చువల్గా నేను పిలువని పేరెంటాన్ని ఇక్కడికి, అయినా కేటీఆర్ గారు నన్ను తీసుకొచ్చారు బలవంతంగా. అయితే మోస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ద ఇక్కడ 90% ఇంజనీర్సే ఉంటారు. సరే, ఇవాళ ఇంజనీర్స్ డే శుభాకాంక్షలు చెప్పొచ్చు కదా అని చెప్పి నేను ఇవాళ వచ్చిన మీ దగ్గరికి. అండ్ అయితే ఇవాళ ఈ న్యూ ఇన్నోవేషన్స్ ఇన్ ఇంజనీరింగ్ అండ్ టెక్నాలజీ సెమినార్ ఏదైతే ఉందో, ఈ విషయంలో మాకు మా గౌరవ ముఖ్యమంత్రి, మా నాయకుడు, మా కేసీఆర్ గారు ఎప్పుడు కూడా చెప్తూ ఉంటారు, ఏ కొత్త ఆవిష్కరణ, అది ఇంజనీరింగ్లో కావచ్చు, టెక్నాలజీలో కావచ్చు, ఎనీ న్యూ ఇన్నోవేషన్ అది సామాన్య ప్రజలకు ఉపయోగపడే విధంగా ఉండాలి. ఉన్నప్పుడే ఆ ఇన్నోవేషన్ సక్సెస్ అవుద్ది అని చెప్తూ ఉంటారు. కాబట్టి ఈ సందర్భంగా కేసీఆర్ గారి మాటని మీ అందరికీ మరొక మారు నేను మనవి చేస్తున్నాను. మీరు చేయబోయే డెలిబరేషన్స్ కావచ్చు, మీరు చేయబోయే చర్చలలో ఆ అంశాన్ని గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవాలని చెప్పి మీ అందరికీ నేను మనవి చేస్తూ ఉన్నా. అట్లే ఇవాళ తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్రం, హైదరాబాద్ నగరం, గౌరవ మంత్రివర్యులు కేటీఆర్ గారి అపారమైన ప్రతిభ, కృషితో ఇవాళ ఐటీ రంగం, ఎక్కడున్న ఐటీ రంగం ఇవాళ ఆకాశానికి ఎత్తుకెదుగుతూ ఉన్నది. మన ఐటీ ఎక్స్పోర్ట్స్ 5 times పెరిగిపోయినాయి. ఐటీలో ఎంప్లాయ్మెంట్ 2 లక్షల ఎంప్లాయ్మెంట్, డైరెక్ట్ ఎంప్లాయ్మెంట్ ఉంటే ఇవాళ 6 లక్షల ఎంప్లాయ్మెంట్ డైరెక్ట్ ఎంప్లాయ్మెంట్కి వచ్చింది. ఇవాళ 3 ఉద్యోగాలు ఈ దేశంలో లభిస్తే ఆ 3లో ఒక ఉద్యోగం హైదరాబాద్ యువతకు దక్కుతూ ఉన్నది. ఇదంతా కూడా వారి కృషే, వారి పట్టుదలే. అట్లాగే వారు ప్రాతినిధ్యం, వారు ఇంకో డిపార్ట్మెంట్ చూస్తున్న ఇండస్ట్రీస్ విషయానికి వస్తే, స్పెషలీ మ్యానుఫ్యాక్చరింగ్ రంగంలో ఇవాళ అపారమైన ప్రగతి ఇవాళ మన తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్ర ఇండస్ట్రియల్ సెక్టర్ దూసుకుపోతూ ఉన్నది. ఎక్కడెక్కడ ఉన్నటువంటి పారిశ్రామికవేత్తలను తన వాక్చాతుర్యంతో, తన ఎఫర్ట్స్తో ఇవాళ కేటీఆర్ గారు హైదరాబాద్ నగరానికి తీసుకువచ్చి ఇక్కడ ఇండస్ట్రీస్ నెలకొల్పే విధంగా వారు చేస్తూ ఉన్నారు. తద్వారా మన తెలంగాణ యువత, హైదరాబాద్ యువతకి దాదాపు ఇండస్ట్రియల్ రంగంలో 16 లక్షల ఉద్యోగాలు ఇవాళ సృష్టించబడ్డాయి తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్రంలో. ఈ గ్రోత్ మామూలు గ్రోత్ కాదు. 8 సంవత్సరాల క్రితం ఏముండే, 8 సంవత్సరాల తర్వాత ఇవాళ తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్రంలో ఏం జరుగుతున్నదో మేధావులైనటువంటి, బుద్ధిజీవులైనటువంటి, చదువుకున్న వారైనటువంటి మీరందరూ కూడా గ్రహించాలని చెప్పి నేను కోరుతా ఉన్నా. అట్లనే ఇవాళ వారు ఐటీ రంగంలో టీ హబ్ అనొక కొత్తదాన్ని సృష్టించి ఉద్యోగాలు చేయడమే కాదు, ఉద్యోగాలు ఇచ్చే స్థాయికి యువత పెరగాలి, ఎంటర్ప్రెనర్గా ఎదగాలి అని చెప్పి ఇవాళ ఐటీ హబ్ ద్వారా ఎంతోమందికి అవకాశాలు లభించే విధంగా కేటీఆర్ గారు కృషి చేశారు. అది మోహన్ రెడ్డి గారు ఇంతకుముందు చెప్పడం జరిగింది. అట్లే మ్యానుఫ్యాక్చరింగ్ రంగంలో టీ వర్క్స్ అని ఒకదాన్ని కొత్తగా ఇప్పుడు ఏర్పాటు చేయబోతున్నారు. అక్కడ కూడా కొత్తగా ఎంటర్ప్రెనర్ అని ఉంటే మీ ఐడియాల్ని ఆ మిషన్ దగ్గర పోయి మీ ఐడియానికి ఒక జీవాన్ని ఇచ్చి మీ ప్రొడక్ట్ని ప్రపంచానికి చూపెట్టే అవకాశం ఇవాళ కేటీఆర్ గారు ఇస్తూ ఉన్నారు. మెకానికల్ ఇంజనీర్స్ అందరికి కూడా ఇది చాలా లాభం కాబోతుంది అని చెప్పి నేను ఈ సందర్భంగా మనవి చేస్తూ ఉన్నా. ఇట్లా ఇవాళ తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్రంలో ముఖ్యమంత్రి కేసీఆర్ గారి డైరెక్షన్లో మన మంత్రి కేటీఆర్ గారు ఇన్ని రకాలుగా అభివృద్ధికి ఇవాళ దోహదపడతా ఉన్నారు. దాన్ని అందిపుచ్చుకోవాలి మీరందరూ. ఉద్యోగాలు సంపాదించడమే కాకుండా మీరే 10 మందికి ఉద్యోగాలు ఇచ్చే దిశగా మీ చూపు ఉండాలి, మీ ఆలోచన ఉండాలి. మీ అందరికి కూడా నా హృదయపూర్వక శుభాకాంక్షలు తెలియజేస్తూ సెలవు తీసుకుంటున్నా. జై తెలంగాణ, జై హింద్.
So thank you very much for highlighting the issues of employability and employment opportunities and entrepreneurship. Thank you, sir. May I now request the chief guest. Sorry, I'm just mistaken. Dr. M. Manzoor Hussain, sir, Professor of Mechanical Engineering and Registrar of JNTUH, to read the brief profile of Sri KTR Garu. Thank you, sir. Let us just have brief few minutes.
వద్దు మ్యామ్, ఇప్పటికే లంచ్ టైం అయింది మీ అందరికీ. థ్యాంక్ యూ ప్రొఫెసర్ మంజూర్ హుసేన్. థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్. ఐఎమ్ షూర్ యూ హ్యాడ్ లాట్స్ ఆఫ్ నైస్ వర్డ్స్ ఫర్ మీ. థ్యాంక్ యూ. అందరికీ నమస్కారం. అవునారు అందరూ? ఐఎమ్ సారీ ఐఎమ్ స్టాండింగ్ బిట్వీన్ యూ అండ్ యువర్ లంచ్, సో ఐల్ ట్రై అండ్ కీప్ ఇట్ బ్రీఫ్. ఆకలి అవుతుందా? అయితలేదా? హౌ మెనీ నాన్ తెలుగు స్పీకర్స్ ఇన్ ద ఆడియన్స్ హియర్? Very few. Anybody in the front rows? Any non-Telugu speakers at all? I'm trying to figure out if I have to speak in Telugu or English, so that's all I'm saying. All right, a few of you. Shrikant, you need to learn Telugu, by the way, quickly. Firstly, Gauranilu, Peddalu, Honorable Minister for Roads and Buildings, my elder brother, who's been very effusive all morning. Thank you so much, Prashant Reddy Garu, and a fellow engineer. I think you should welcome him with a good round of applause, Prashant Reddy Gariki. Your Vice Chancellor of Jawaharlal Nehru Technological University, Peddalu Katta Narasimhareddy Garu, Professor Narasimhareddy Gariki. Gauranilu Padma Shri, my friend, philosopher, guide, mentor in a lot of ways, Shri BVR Mohan Reddy Garu. Telangana State Higher Education Council Chairman Garu, Peddalu Professor Limbadri Garu. Gauranilu, mi JNTU Rector Garu, Govardhan Garu. Professor Manzoor Hussain Garu from Hyderabad Central University, the registrar there. Professor Tara Kalyani Garu, the convener of ICIET. And more importantly, I think to all the distinguished delegates who have come from various parts of India and possibly also from various parts of the world. And I think last, I've saved the best for the last, the students of JNTU, all my sisters and brothers and my young sisters and brothers. I wish you all a very happy Engineers Day. అందరికీ కూడా ఇంజనీర్స్ డే సందర్భంగా హృదయపూర్వకంగా శుభాకాంక్షలు. Before I go into my formal speech, I just wanted to say a few things. I have a lot of friends from JNTU, who've studied here, who've passed, who have excelled in life, and who actually, some of them actually work with me. I have my chief engineer in HMDA, Shri BLN Reddy Garu, who's also an alumnus of Antena. Thank you. And I have lots of colleagues, lots of friends from JNTU. I have Raj Shekhar Garu here. Raj, I think you should just... Raj is a senior of mine, actually. He's far older. He looks young, but he's far older. He's also from JNTU. And I have many other friends. So just wanted to acknowledge all of them and thank you for having us here. About 2.5 years ago, Honorable Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi Garu, he had actually called for a meeting in New Delhi with all the political parties and representatives of political parties. And the theme of the meeting was how to, on the eve of 75th year of independence, how do we create new India? How do we ensure that the next 25 years, post 75, will be vibrant, will be, enough of time to make India a first world country. That was the theme of the meeting. So on behalf of the Telangana Rashtra Samiti, as deputed by our Honorable Chief Minister, KCR Garu, I participated in the meeting and I gave him my 2 cents. I had told him, sir, if you're serious about making India a truly first world nation, making India truly a first world country, a developed country, in the league of the US, the UK, Germany, France, and other nations, we have to follow the 3I mantra. He was very curious. He said, what is the 3I mantra? I told him, sir, the first I is innovation. A lot of times when people talk about innovation, and even here in the Jawaharlal Nehru Technological University. When we say innovation, people typically think innovation is only associated with technology, innovation is only associated with engineering, or innovation is confined to certain sections of the society. In fact, it's not. Innovation as a concept, innovation as a theme, innovation as an idea, in fact, can permeate into all spheres and all walks of life. If you think about it for a minute, see, we are part of the government, myself, Prashant Reddy Garu, we work under the Honorable Chief Minister. So what did he do in terms of innovation in the last 8 years? He's not just innovated in terms of engineering. He has not just given us enough latitude to create new institutions, innovative institutions. He has also innovated with policy. What am I saying? There was an industrial policy in the United State of Andhra Pradesh much before Telangana state ever came into being. But when the new state of Telangana was formed, our Honorable Chief Minister, he called various industry bodies into a room like this. He sat with them for 7 hours. He let them speak. He was hearing, he was listening. He let them speak. They all poured out their woes. They said, "Sir, there is no power. There is no guarantee when I'll get a permission. I don't know when I'm going to get my promised fiscal incentives," etc., etc. They reeled out a number of issues. You know what he did? He said, "Let's do one thing. I've heard you for 7 hours. I'm going to do this. I'm not going to try and reinvent the wheel. I'm not going to start from scratch. I'm going to send a team of brilliant officers to various countries which have excelled in ease of doing business. We will take their policies, we'll take certain elements from those policies, imbibe them, form the new policy for Telangana, new industrial policy for Telangana, and we'll come out with our own ideas." This was in July 2014, just about a month after the new state came into being. By November 2014, in the Telangana state legislature, we had enacted a new legislation called as TS-IPAS. Now, what does TS-IPAS mean? TS-IPAS basically stands for Telangana State Industrial Project Approval Self-Certification System. Industrial Project Approval Self-Certification System. How did this come about? What was the genesis? What was the thinking behind it by calling it self-certification? When an entrepreneur told Honorable Chief Minister that he did not know how long it would take for him to get a clearance from the government after he or she has applied, he said, "Why should you even need a clearance from the government? Just like how you have a right to education or right to information, the investor also should have a right to self-certification. As long as you certify yourselves as being in compliance with the law of the land, why should you have a government intrude into that?" That was the thinking behind innovation and policy with respect to clearances. And that's how Telangana today is the first state and possibly the only state in India where if you as an entrepreneur, any of you in fact, if you want to start a factory tomorrow, you actually don't need a permission from the state government. You don't need a permission from the local municipality. You do not need a permission from the local Gram Panchayat. As long as you certify yourselves that you are going to be in compliance with the law of the land. What do I mean by compliance? The pollution norms, the building norms, the safety norms. If you're in compliance and if you believe you're fully compliant, then you can hit the ground running. You can start construction of your factory on day one. No state in India will tell you that. That is innovation. Simultaneously, because we need to know who's doing business in our state, all we have put in the legislation is that for regulatory purposes only, you have to submit an application online in the TS-IPAS portal saying, this is the nature of the business, this is the quantum of the investment, and this is the employment I am going to create, and this is, the tax I would possibly pay to the state government. And what do we do when we receive that information online? By statute, by legislation that we have enacted in the state legislature about 8 years ago, we promise all clearances in 15 days through a single window, through a single portal. Now the joke in India is, as an entrepreneur, if you go to any state in India, they'll all tell you the same thing. We have a single window system. But the joke is, there are always multiple windows behind that one single window, hidden multiple windows. But how is Telangana different? Telangana is different because if we don't deliver on the 15-day window, On the 16th day, by statute, by legislation, it's an automatic, it's a default approval given to the investor. No state in India will tell you this. And most importantly, from the 16th day, even the senior most bureaucrat, even the senior most IAS officer, if he or she is held responsible for the delay holding up that clearance, I as a minister have the ability, I am backed, I am empowered by statute to levy a penalty of rupees 1,000 per day. So that's how innovation in TSI pass has resulted on the officer, on the IAS officer included. Now that's how, because of this innovation, because of this reform, in the last 8 years, in case you're thinking, this sounds too good to be true, does it actually work? It has delivered brilliantly. It has cut down red tape, it has cut down corruption, it has cut down basically the time lag, the gestation period as an entrepreneur would call it. And therefore today in Telangana in the last 8 years, we have given more than 20,000 clearances through TSI Pass. We have been able to attract more than 2.4 lakh crores of investment and have created, as Prashant Reddy Garu pointed out, more than 16 lakh direct job potential in our state for our youth. Now that's a simple intervention, simple innovation in policy. Just to give you an example. When I said the 3I mantra to the Prime Minister, the first I, like I said, was innovation. The second I is infrastructure. Now, what do I mean infrastructure? You know, John F. Kennedy, when he was the President of the United States, had famously said, you know, America does not have good highways because it is a rich country. America is rich because it has good highways. That goes to show you how important infrastructure is in a nation's growth. When I say infrastructure, I just don't mean roads or buildings. When I say infrastructure, I mean infrastructure of all kinds. Infrastructure will include power, electricity. It will include water, drinking, and also irrigation. It will include roads, buildings, of course. It will include social and physical infrastructure. I mean, infrastructure can be of various kinds. Now, infrastructure is important for a nation like India because today, just to give you an example, if you look at the electricity needs of our country, we have more than 600,000, 6 lakh villages in our country, and we have a few thousand cities and towns in our country. 75 years after independence, I don't know how many of you know this, but India is still not fully electrified. Not every single village, not every single home in India actually has electricity, even after 75 years. You may have read in the newspapers recently, when our country recently elected the new President of India, Srimati Draupadi Murmuji, after she got elected, after she got nominated as a President of India candidate, her village in Odisha was electrified. This is a harsh reality. See, we are the privileged bunch sitting in Hyderabad, in a town, in a city like Hyderabad, and all other, in a state like Telangana, where we give 24/7 power to our farmers, where our power supply is improved dramatically after KCR Garu has become the Chief Minister. We are the privileged bunch. But there are still numerous villages, numerous areas which are languishing without electricity. Now, why am I mentioning this to you? Because the mismatch between the supply and demand again needs a bit of jugaad and innovation. Our country's total installed capacity in electricity is about 4,06,000 megawatts, all forms of power included. It includes firm power, infirm power, thermal, nuclear, hydel, wind power, solar power, all kinds of power, biomass, etc., etc. Now, the total needs of our country, the total electricity demand, the peak demand of our country, which we have ever hit in 75 years, was on the 22nd of June this year, on summer solstice. 21st of June is summer solstice, the longest day in the year, as most of you may know. This year, our peak demand was 2,12,000 megawatts. Our base load is 2,40,000 megawatts. Our total installed capacity is 4 lakh megawatts. Yet we have villages without electricity, yet we have houses without electricity. Now, why is that? Because of this gross mismatch between demand and supply. Demand is there, there's plenty of villages which are lacking. There's industry who wants to run in 3 shifts. And in Gujarat recently in summer 2022, the Gujarat Vikas Nigam had issued a notice saying there would be power holiday for 2 days in a week. Fortunately, in Telangana, we don't have that situation. The point I'm trying to make is, we have this gross mismatch which needs to be synced. In this country, electricity apart, in this country, we are blessed with beautiful rivers, lifelines. We have Himalayas on the top, and there are rivers emanating from that. And then we have rivers from across the border, from Pakistan, from Afghanistan, from China, etc., which flow into us, from Bangladesh, and then eventually they flow into the ocean, of course. We have Godavari and Krishna in our state. We have Ganga, Yamuna, Chenab, Ravi, Satluj. I can go on. There's plenty of rivers. The total water availability in all the rivers combined in India is about 70,000 TMC. 70,000, 70. Now, the total requirement for agriculture in India, if you had to irrigate every single arable acre of land in India, is only 40,000 TMCs. And if you take also industrial consumption and drinking water needs, that will also add up to another 15,000 TMCs. That means we have more water than what we require. We have 70,000 available to us. Hardly we require 50,000 or 55,000 to satiate our needs, to completely saturate all requirements for farming, for drinking water, and also for industrial consumption. Yet, Telangana is the only state in the country, in 75 years of history of independence, to have provided a portable drinking water connection to each and every home. 27 other states have not been able to do it. The point I was trying to make to the Prime Minister is, we have water, we have demand, we have supply. You just need to do the mapping, you need to ensure the proper engineering happens, the proper orchestration happens in such a way that no drop of water goes waste into the ocean. The point I was also trying to make to the Honorable Prime Minister is, we see reports of farmer suicides and farm distress. That need not be the case. If a state like Telangana, do you all have your phones? Do you have your phones with you? Can I request you to please pull out your phone for a second? Please keep it in silent mode, of course. Pull out Google. Please pull out Google. And please type in the world's largest lift irrigation project. No, not you. I want Google to answer. The world's largest lift irrigation project. I want somebody to show me on the screen because I'm not trusting you. Okay, what does it say? Kaleshwaram project. Now, the fact is, the youngest state in India, Telangana, which was formed only 8 years ago, was able to execute the largest lift irrigation project in the world in a short span of 4 years, flat. You're all engineers. You're all engineers. We are lifting waters from 82 meters above sea level through a multi-stage lift system using mega pumps, mega pump houses, sometimes running to the tune of almost 139, 140 megawatts, a series of pump houses and pumps. We are lifting the water from 82 meters above sea level to 618 meters above sea level to Konda Pochama Sagar. It's an engineering feat. It's an engineering marvel. How many of you have you seen Kaleshwaram pump houses or Kaleshwaram tunnels or Kaleshwaram reservoirs? Sir, I think you should take the students. I request the professors here and particularly the Vice Chancellor, please send your engineering students to actually explore this marvel of engineering, the world's largest lift irrigation project, Kaleshwaram. Basulu petti pampinchandi, vallaku chupettandi, dayachesi. We will make all arrangements for you. We'll make all arrangements for you, myself and Prashant Reddy garu. I want you to come explore it. I want you to come explore it. Enduku cheptunnanante, why am I saying this? Why I'm wanting you to understand it is, you see, we lot of times Indians, all of us, we are always amusing. We are marveling at engineering feats elsewhere. Have you all heard of Three Gorges Dam? China? Vinnara? Three Gorges Dam kattadu China lo. We talk about other things that are happening elsewhere. China lo, they have built a 100-storied structure in 3 months. Paper out rastadu, manam chautam, TV lo chupedtaru, manam chustam. You know it. But we never appreciate. Our Prime Minister says, vocal for local. We should be vocal for local also, no? Our own state has the world's largest lift irrigation project, but we don't take the time out to go see it. We are more interested in seeing other things. My humble request to all of you is, If a youngest, and this was my point to Honorable Prime Minister also. I told him, sir, if a young state can do it with limited resources, a big country like India with a huge budget should be able to pull off this in a record time. If you really want to be a first world country, we have to add infrastructure, we have to improve our infrastructure. The third I, first I was innovation, second I was infrastructure, third I is inclusive growth. What do I mean inclusive growth? I'm a firm believer that talent or knowledge or wisdom is not individual. It is not, no individual is a repository of wisdom. It is not confined to a JNTU student. Innovation is not confined to a JNTU student. Innovation is not confined, or even knowledge or brain power or wisdom is not confined to a specific section or a specific set of people who are educated in a specific institution. Talent evadi abbasottu kaadu. ప్రతి ఒక్కరికి దేవుడు బుర్ర ఈక్వల్గా ఇచ్చాడు. దానికి ఎట్లా పదును పెడతాము, దాన్ని ఎట్లా వాడతాము, దాంతో ఏం సాధిస్తాము, ఏం క్రియేట్ చేస్తాము, దట్ ఈస్ అవర్ ఎబిలిటీ టు పుట్ టు టెస్ట్. Point I'm trying to make is, see, think about it for a minute. We're always wondering about, see, all of you are here, all of you use Google, please raise your hand if you do. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Insta. How many of these are products which have been created by Indians? None. See, we take a lot of pride in Sundar Pichai being Google CEO, right? We take a lot of pride in Satya Nadella being the CEO and chairman of Microsoft. We took a lot of pride recently when Starbucks announced a new CEO who is of Indian origin. We take a lot of pride when Rishi Sunak is running for UK Prime Ministership, right? But how many Indian products have really taken the world by storm? ఇప్పుడు మీరు ఇంటికి వెళ్ళిన తర్వాత కైండ్లీ ప్లీజ్ అబ్జర్వ్, ఇంటికి వెళ్ళిన తర్వాత చూడండి, మీ ఇంట్లో, మీ డ్రాయింగ్ రూమ్లో, మీ బెడ్రూమ్లో యూ విల్ సీ ఏ సోనీ, యూ విల్ సీ ఏ పానాసోనిక్, యూ విల్ సీ a LG, a Samsung, an Apple phone. మీరు చుట్టూ చూడండి ఒక్కసారి. మీ ఇంట్లో వెళ్ళిన తర్వాత జాగ్రత్తగా ఎలక్ట్రానిక్ వస్తువులు చూడండి, మీ ఫర్నిచర్ చూడండి, మీ ఫోన్లు చూడండి, చుట్టూ ఒక్కసారి జాగ్రత్తగా చూడండి. ఇందులో ఎన్ని ఇండియన్ ప్రోడక్ట్స్ ఉన్నాయో ఒకసారి కొద్దిగా ఓపికగా ఆలోచించండి. దే వోంట్ ఈవెన్ బి వన్. చుట్టూ చూస్తే అయితే చైనీస్ ప్లాస్టిక్ వస్తువులు ఉంటాయి, చైనీస్ ఫర్నిచర్ ఉంటుంది, లేదా మనం వేసుకునే బట్టలు కూడా సగం చైనా నుంచి వస్తున్నాయి ఇప్పుడు. పాయింట్ ఏంటంటే, ఎక్కడో ఈ 75 ఏళ్లలో ఇండియా హ్యాస్ లాస్ట్ దట్ spunk, that spirit, that ignite that we need, that small little thing that we need, that small ignition that we need. ఎక్కడో అది పోయింది. Why am I saying this? ఇప్పుడే నేను ఒక మీటింగ్కి వెళ్ళాను. అక్కడ ఒక ఆయన చెప్తున్నారు, I went to a Quality Circle Forum of India meeting. అక్కడ there was a gentleman who was speaking and he said, I'm amazed by what China has done in the last 25-30 years. Let me tell you a small story. Exactly 35 years ago, back in 1987-1986, the economy, the size of the economy of two countries, India and China, was almost the same. We're almost, population wise చూసుకుంటే మనం 140 కోట్లు, వాళ్ళు 148 కోట్లు అనుకుంటా, thereabouts. The size of economy of both China and India in 1986-87 was $470 billion. $470 billion. Cut to 35 years later, today, present time, 2022. Can anybody tell me what the economy size of China is? $16 trillion. Can anybody tell me what the size of Indian economy is? 3.3 or 3.4 trillion dollars. So iddaramu running race lo okate daggara start ayyam. We both started at the same starting point. Now China is at 16 trillion, we are at 3.3 trillion. They are 5.78 times bigger. Why and how? Enduku em jarigindi? There are three things that have happened. One, single-minded focus of the nation. They said, we are not happy being where we are. We want to be the best in the world. We want to compete with the US. We want to compete with the best of the nations in Europe. And we want to elevate our game. And they were backed by political will. Political leadership had the will, collective will, to back the country. And today, therefore, China has become the manufacturing hub for the rest of the world. China వాడు తుమ్మితే ఇక్కడ మనకు సర్ది అవుతుంది. అట్లుంది పరిస్థితి ఈరోజు. వాని అక్కడ దుకాణం బంద్ అయితే మనకి ఇక్కడ మాస్కులు రావు, మనకు మెడిసిన్స్ రావు, మనకి APIs రావు, యాక్టివ్ ఫార్మస్యూటికల్ ఇంగ్రీడియంట్స్ రావు, ఏది రావు. అట్లా తయారైంది. China has become the factory of the world. Second thing they've done, which they've done exceedingly well, they've focused on value creation. They said agriculture పెంచాలి, కానీ పోస్ట్ హార్వెస్ట్ ఎక్కడైతే వాల్యూ యాడ్ చేయాలో, మ్యానుఫ్యాక్చరింగ్, ఫుడ్ ప్రాసెసింగ్, ఎక్కడైతే వాల్యూ యాడ్ చేయాలి వాల్యూ చైన్లో, హౌ డూ వీ మూవ్ అప్ ద వాల్యూ చైన్, దే ఫోకస్డ్ ఆన్ దాట్, దే వెంట్ ఆఫ్టర్ ఇట్ విత్ సింగిల్ మైండెడ్ ఫోకస్. అండ్ ద థర్డ్ థింగ్ దేవ్ డన్, మనమేమో ఇండియాలో వీఆర్ వరీడ్ అబౌట్ అదర్ థింగ్స్. వీఆర్ ఫోకస్డ్ ఆన్, వీఆర్ హ్యాపీ కంపేరింగ్ అవర్ సెల్స్ టు పాకిస్తాన్, బంగ్లాదేశ్. దే ఆర్ మోర్ ఫోకస్డ్ ఆన్ US, ఆస్ట్రేలియా, జర్మనీ, ఫ్రాన్స్, ఆల్ ది డెవలప్డ్ నేషన్స్. మనం ఏం చేస్తున్నాం ఇక్కడ? వీఆర్ మోర్ వరీడ్, నా పక్కన కూర్చున్నాడు కులమేంది, యువతల పక్కన కూర్చున్నాడు మతమేంది, ఆయన ఏం తింటున్నాడు, కాలేజ్కి ఏం వేసుకొని వస్తున్నాడు, ఏం మాట్లాడుతుండు. మనం గతాన్ని చదువుకోవడంలో బిజీగా ఉన్నాం. వాడెవడో వచ్చి టెంపుల్ గుల్లగొట్టి మసీద్ కట్టిండి, ఇప్పుడు మనం మసీద్ గుల్లగొట్టి టెంపుల్ కడదాం, ఆ చక్కర్లు ఉన్నాం మనం. వీఆర్ నాట్ ఇంట్రెస్టెడ్ ఇన్ మార్చింగ్ ఇన్ టు ద ఫ్యూచర్ టు మేక్ అవర్ కంట్రీ ఎ గ్లోరియస్ నేషన్. వీఆర్ మోర్ ఇంట్రెస్టెడ్ ఇన్ డిగ్గింగ్ అప్ ద పాస్ట్ వూండ్స్, పాత గాయాలు తవ్వుకుందాం, కెలుక్కుందాం, ఆ పుండును తవ్వి మళ్ళీ పచ్చిగా చేసి దాని మీదకి వెళ్ళి కొన్ని ఓట్లు సంపాదించుకుందాం. ఈ పిచ్చి ప్రయత్నాల్లో ఉన్నాం. కులము, మతము, ఐఎమ్ సారీ టు సే దిస్ బట్ ఇట్ ఈస్ అ ఫ్యాక్ట్. Sorry to say this, but it is a fact. I'm not making a political comment here. Collectively as a nation, we need to think. If you really want to be a world-class nation, what should our focus be? Neelu leni villages, current leni inlu, సాగునీరు అందక బాధపడుతున్న రైతు, ఆయనకు మద్దతు ధర రాక బాధపడుతున్న రైతు. మనం చిన్నప్పటి నుంచి ఇంకోటి కూడా తయారు చేసాం. ఆర్ కల్చర్ ఇన్ ఇండియా we're told from a very young age, from a school age, you only have 2 career options, at best 3. ఏం చెప్పారు చిన్నప్పుడు ఇంట్లో? లాయర్, డాక్టర్ అవ్వాలి, లేకపోతే ఇంజనీర్ అవ్వాలి. ఇంకో థర్డ్ ఆప్షన్ ఏంటి? అయితే గీతే లాయరో లేకపోతే ఇంకోటి. అంతేగాని ఇంకా వేరే ఆప్షన్స్ లేవు. యు ఆర్ ఆల్వేస్ టోల్డ్ టు బీ అ జాబ్ సీకర్. యు ఆర్ టోల్డ్ టు బీ వర్క్, యు ఆర్ టోల్డ్ ఫ్రమ్ అ వెరీ యంగ్ ఏజ్ నాట్ టు డ్రీమ్ బిగ్. ఎక్కువ తక్కువ ఆలోచించక అడ్డం పడతావు, ఎక్కువ తక్కువ ఆలోచిస్తే కింద పడతావు, ముఖం బలుగుతుంది. అట్లా కాదు, కన్జర్వేటివ్ ఉండాలి, తక్కువ ఇది చేయాలి, మనం ఎక్కువ రిస్క్ తీసుకోవద్దు, అప్పు ఉండొద్దు. అంటే ద థింగ్ ఈజ్ ఆర్ కల్చరల్ కండిషనింగ్, ఆర్ సొసైటీస్ కండిషనింగ్ ఫ్రమ్ అ వెరీ యంగ్ ఏజెస్. ఎట్టి పరిస్థితుల్లో జాబ్ కొట్టాలి అంతే, ఎవరి కిందనో పని చేయాలి తప్ప మనం 10 మందికి జాబ్లు ఇచ్చేటట్టు ఆలోచన లేదు మనకు. మనం ఎందుకు మన దుకాణం పెట్టద్దు, మనం ఎందుకు మన ఎంటర్ప్రైజ్ పెట్టద్దు, మనం ఎందుకు వరల్డ్ క్లాస్ ప్రోడక్ట్స్ తయారు చేయొద్దు. ఆ గూగుల్,